You may or may not have heard of this level, but I want to talk about it anyway. As soon as I first saw this level in my sub box, I felt kind of weird about it. It took me a while, but I think I figured out why it kind of gets under my skin. So let's talk about it. It will be a pretty unpopular opinion considering the general community response has been overwhelmingly positive. Just bear with me and take everything I say with a pinch of salt. Anyway, let's talk about it. I know this doesn't fit into my normal review structure, but screw it. This is one of my biggest problems with the level, which is the fact that it's not a travel level. The definition of a travel level is hazy to say the least, so I've come up with a definition of my own, taken from levels like Lonely Travel and Dark Travel. Considering nobody has really set out to make a proper definition, I feel like my definition is just as valid as anyone else's. My first requirement is actually common. It is not hard to understand that these levels are labeled the Travel series for a reason. Not only is the original Lonely Travel the former longest ever GD level, it also simulates a journey playing through it. It genuinely feels like you've returned from a long adventure when you complete the level. That's because the decoration focuses on art such as floating islands, sewers, mountains, pyramids, you get the picture. Meanwhile, Nostalgic Travel is just a geometry dash level. No attempt is made whatsoever to make the level feel like a journey, because basically every part looks the same. Okay, so the next thing that's something to discuss is the length. Basically every travel level is over 5 minutes long, but why is that exactly? The description of the original Lonely Travel says useless longest level, so I don't think that the point of the level was ever to be the longest level ever. I just think that Funny Game needed that amount of time in order to make the level feel complete. If this level was shorter and tried to utilize the same amount of concepts, it would have come off as underwhelming. I feel that the length of Nostalgic Travel doesn't really add anything, considering the level isn't diverse or varied to a degree that a level like Dark Travel is. And as a result, it just drags on and on. For example, at 40% in the level, everything starts calming down. The music is swelling, the gameplay is slower, you get a feeling that it's drawing to a close. That is until 49% when the level's mutilated, rat-infested, bloody corpse crawls out of its grave like nothing happened and continues on like normal. The length doesn't feel necessary at all. In fact, it's almost as if the only reason it's this long at all is so they can call it a travel level for easy popularity. I'm not saying that people have to follow my criteria, but I do feel we should be a bit more critical before accepting something as a travel level. Not only was Lonely Travel the longest level ever made, it's also an atmospheric masterpiece, and the length wasn't even the point to begin with. I have not yet completed this level, however I feel I've played it enough to get a feel for it. The gameplay is just okay. Some parts stand out to me, but for all the wrong reasons. For example, this part with so many moving objects that makes you wish that 2.0 was never released so stuff like this wouldn't be possible. The rest of the gameplay is okay. I didn't enjoy playing it because the length made every death demotivating. That's probably just a problem I personally have though, so I can't really blame the level. That's all I have to say about the gameplay. It's just acceptable. This is a 1.0 themed level, but I don't think that's any excuse for the visuals considering they constantly go out of their way to add more advanced effects. I can't really get too angry at a level like Dear Nostalgia's visuals, because the entire level never strays away from an honest 1.0 style, but this level constantly goes out of its way to try and be two things at once, and it just doesn't work. The quality of the visuals are inconsistent throughout, with some parts looking pretty good and others just looking terrible. Wait, so a lot of the level's decoration comes from brick ramps, but they weren't added until 1.8. Where does this even come from? Let me just say that while the final product wasn't the best, I don't think this is because the creators are bad. In fact, I think they have potential, yet their style is holding them back. You can't build a 1.0 themed level and a colourful 2.1 level at the same time, so pick one and stick with it. I'm sure this can be done well, but the final level just comes off as this constant tug of war between two completely different eras, and it simply falls flat in the end. I think it was around this part in the level that I realized that the two styles just don't mix. I don't know how to pronounce this name. Nate Boss's... I don't know, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Nate Boss's part is one of the only good parts in the level, and it baffles me as to how far it strays from what the level was supposed to be in the first place. I think that the cluttered visuals are to do with the colors, maybe the diverse color palette, contrasting with the bland 1.0 brick design, but I'm not an expert, I'm sure you guys could figure something out. The music sync is okay. I just wanted to showcase this part because the sync here is particularly good. That will be all. I would say that this level is very original if it was released in mid-2016. It's an idea that's been done many times before and better executed too. As for the effects, most of them are kinda generic, mainly being this one, which is literally just a ramp copy-pasted over and over. That doesn't make the level in its entirety bad, that relies on the other factors, and the bad definitely outweighs the good here. If I could describe this level in one word, it would have to be confused. Never in my life have I seen such a baffling mix between 1.0 and 2.1, and in the end, it simply doesn't work. I'm aware a lot of people like this level, so this video will probably get bombarded with dislikes. I feel this can be done well, and I really don't think the creators are bad creators. Hell, some of these effects are great. I just don't think the styles mix very well, but that can be fixed with time and practice, placing it at the bottom of the list. Well, to be fair, that's because it's against Acid Rush of all things. And nothing tops Acid Rush.
So pretty, so crystal with the girl like you're so pretty. Play how, my favorite restaurant. Play how, my favorite restaurant. Play how.